So I'm sure you've heard this one before, right? YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Allegedly. But what if I told you this? At least in my opinion, and as chaotic as it is, YouTube is the largest education and learning video platform there is in existence. We've just never thought of it that way. YouTube can pretty much teach you anything from how to code Python, to how to remortgage your house, to how to play Wordle. For example, let me ask you this question. What was the last thing you learned how to do or problem you solved exclusively thanks to YouTube? For me, yeah, it was how to use software to change my voice on this microphone. So that now when you listen to me, I can sound like this, which is a relatively normal, neutral voice, or I can have a deep, richer, bassier voice. And this is all thanks to YouTube. Now, of course, there are always going to be questions over the quality of such content, since anyone can profess to be an expert at something and upload a video to YouTube. And since YouTube did away with public dislike counts, well, you get the idea. Fun fact actually, this video with over 6.5 million views has over 29,000 dislikes. Yeah, there's a story behind that, a link in the description. So what you're generally hoping for is that YouTube is going to serve you up with the right content and the best content for your educational search requirements. However, while YouTube does know a lot about each and every user on the platform, it doesn't know everything. And one of those things can be topic competence. For example, let's search for how to sell NFTs, a topic I know literally nothing about. Now, the complete guide looks as if it might be useful, but as for these other two, well, I'm not an artist and I don't know what minting means. So what if I change the search to how to start selling NFTs beginner? Okay, so two of these videos now look like my speed, but I still don't know what this bottom video is all about. Is it going to help me? And therein lies a problem. YouTube doesn't know exactly who the video is for because it doesn't contain the metadata attributed to education level and type. Until now. Please subscribe. Ah yes, YouTube categories. We don't talk about them much these days because the long-held thought is they don't do very much. Yes, they may help advertisers target audiences. Yes, you can add a game title to the game category. And yes, you should probably match a category to your content as accurately as possible. But are they going to suddenly shoot your video to the top of the search rankings? No, because viewers can't filter by these categories. However, having said all of this, one of those categories has just undergone a major upgrade. At least when you think about its potential. Oh yeah. The education category now has 4 extra fields to complete, which, to be honest, is very alarming. That's because for the past 1,000 videos here at vidIQ, I've always set our category to how to and style. I've always set it to this category because, well, I literally show people how to grow their channels. But I like to do it with a little bit of style, a little bit of panache, a little bit of, how do they say, je ne sais quoi? Can anybody hear a word I'm saying in this thing? So yeah, I'll be switching our video category to education from now on, and if views suddenly go through the roof and we've been missing out for years, it's been nice knowing you all. There's a new vacancy at vidIQ for a YouTuber in residence who knows how to use video categories. As for this upgraded education category, let's take a look at this in more detail. What? Didn't think this through. So of course, all of these drop downs are optional, but as per the norm, the more detail you provide to YouTube, the better it will be able to categorize your content. And the type drop down is divided up into the following options. So I think obviously for this video you're watching now, I'm going to be filing it under, yeah, edutainment. But these categories do start to raise some interesting questions. Who is this information for? The creator, the viewer, or YouTube's recommendation system? Now, were this not YouTube, I would assume extra filters would be added to YouTube search, passing control directly from the creator to the viewer to find stuff they want to watch. But this is YouTube, and they may argue quite convincingly that their recommendation system is better at finding content than the viewer themselves. What this potentially means is that a viewer unknowingly may watch content labelled as edutainment by the creator, which YouTube then uses to personalize future education content for this viewer within the edutainment type. Now, if all of this sounds a little too sinister and somewhat Big Brother-like, well, I hate to break the news to you, but if you've been logged into your account watching YouTube videos, this is what they do. They collect data and they feed it back to you. It works, and they've been doing it for many years. But I also agree I could be overthinking this way too much. Now, the next 3 fields are where you could get really bogged down in details. First of all, you can set an academic system, and if you do that, you can select an appropriate learning level as defined by that country's education system. Now, that is pretty remarkable, but I would argue that for the average YouTube creator and YouTube viewer, this makes it all too systematic and tied to traditional forms of learning. I would assume that for most search-based content, no academic system would be required, just a simple learning level of beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Yeah, I don't think this multiverse is going to be much use to us. Now, if you do decide to go all in on the academic side of things, then you can even add the exam, course, or certification level. Now, surely, that sort of detail can only benefit a viewer if they are able to filter by it. Because if I simply search by one of these certifications, YouTube can't tell if I'm wanting to find out more about a mobility product or a state entrance exam. Ultimately, what YouTube has here is a problem. A problem with curation. When it comes to single videos, either for education or for problem solving, YouTube is absolutely perfect. But the moment you want to take something into a series, a beginning, a middle, an end, a multi-parts collection of videos, playlists simply don't cut the mustard for educational pieces of content. Unless you're watching a video within a playlist, and when was the last time you were watching a video in a playlist? I certainly can't remember. YouTube will likely recommend something completely different, albeit connected, but not the next video in the playlist, which is how you try to organize your content. In a nutshell, education content doesn't really have a landing page on YouTube. And that's where all of these online learning platforms such as Skillshare, Udemy, and Thinkific have a distinct advantage over YouTube. They are designed from the ground up to identify your exact learning needs and level, and guide you through dedicated courses in a very focused and singular fashion. Now, you may disagree with what I'm about to say next, but since I think YouTube is the greatest invention of all time, I reckon 95 to 99% of the things you pay hundreds of dollars for on these learning sites, you can get from YouTube for free. The problem is it's difficult to find and not organized very well. It could be that I need to find 5 videos out of 100 spread across 2 years worth of content from a creator to get what I need. Or it may be that I need to jump from this creator to this creator to this creator to learn everything I need to know. Creators tend to think in terms of a single snippet of education or a quick solution to one problem, because that's what's going to send their video to the top of the search ranking. But what if in the future there is something beyond simply YouTube search? And what if the first step to that looks a little bit like this? Whatever its long-term future, the best advice I can offer you now is always the same advice. Now that you know about it, start using it, start testing it, and start experimenting with it so that you are best equipped to leverage it when YouTube reveals more about it. Currently, I put this segmentation of the education category on the same pedestal as YouTube hashtags and timestamps or video chapters. You don't currently know where YouTube is going with this little feature. You don't know if it's going to help creators or hinder viewers. And there are far more important things such as titles and thumbnails. But since it now does exist, we have to ask ourselves 2 questions. Why is it there? And how does it help us? And that's all I'm trying to do here. Figure YouTube things out so I can explain them to you. And if you want to watch more of me figuring out stuff for your benefit, I highly recommend you watch this video next, all about the YouTube algorithm and some exclusive secrets YouTube have recently released about it. Oh, and I wouldn't usually ask for this, but give this video a like, because those wardrobe changes and continuity headaches took forever to figure out. Uh-oh.